Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm TJ O'Connor. With me, as always, Damian the Wolverine Hill. Trash Talk is joined tonight by Jordan Clark, who's getting ready to get back into action October 16th. But before we get into that, the sponsors of the show, Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo, Origin Wellness CBD, the Striking Institute, Spartan Martial Arts, James Clark, Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, The Fighters, and Lisa Phillips, my mom. Jordan, how you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us.
Not too bad. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Excited to see that you have a fight once again. Now that I guess the quarantine isn't necessarily over, but some of the gym restrictions have been lifted. What have been some of the things that you have been doing to stay in shape while the quarantine was going on, and what have you been doing to get back in fight shape, I guess, now that you have a fight set?
Yeah, so it never really stopped for me, besides our gym closing down for a couple of months. Officially it was, but I never really stopped. Became a runner all of a sudden. Started running a bunch of miles. I still was lifting, and then I had a little fight club in the basement gym. Couple of us guys were still holding down kickboxing and jiu-jitsu practices till the gym opened up officially. So it never really stopped for me.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was my favorite part of quarantine, was the secret fight clubs that no one could talk about, but everybody was prepared for it because we've all seen fight clubs, so we know the first rule.
Yeah.
So with all of that going on, was this something that you guys were all just kind of anticipating? It's one of those things that we talked about when it first happened, that the guys who are taking advantage and still actually training while the quarantine is going on are going to, I don't know, have a little bit of a edge once the fights start to get back going. Is that kind of what you guys were thinking this whole time while you were training?
Yeah, kind of. So, obviously, amateur fighters, there's not as many opportunities as pro fighters. There's still pro fights going on all over the country or whatnot. And especially here in Wisconsin, there's absolutely no fighting going on. So we knew it was going to be a little harder, but with me staying ready, staying in shape, I knew the first opportunity that pops up, I will be able to take it,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and being in the gym you're at, obviously with Pura Vida, there's high-level fighters, guys are fighting during the quarantine, so you're able to see that, stay motivated, stay active. Does that give you a little bit more confidence knowing, like you said, there's no fights going on locally, but you have coaches, you have a team that not only is used to traveling for fights, but they're prepared to travel, as a unit and go get fights? Because speaking of which, you were supposed to fight 2 weeks ago now down in Nebraska. You made a long drive, but then some guys kind of fell through. Tell us about that a little bit as well.
Right. Yeah, it's always nice to have coaches that are ready to pack their bags and just drive 8 hours to Nebraska like we did. It's always nice that they're willing to do that and not make much money at all. That's the big thing. So what was it, 2 weeks ago now? Wes had a guaranteed fight. He had his fight, and then I was an alternate technically, so I drove down the 8 hours down there, and there was two fighters. One guy didn't cut weight at all, and the other guy was a little lighter. So it was they weren't gonna fight probably. So I just took that opportunity, cut weight, got in between there. They didn't fight. They were both offered me, and they both said no. So the Nebraskans, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I still got to see Wes get a 35-second head kick knockout, which is crazy because he's this really good wrestler who just head kicked this guy. So it was still a good time just to get back in that mindset of fighting, just to be in that environment.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, do you feel like that benefited you a little bit now that you have this fight coming up? Because people talk about ring rust. Me and TJ have our own things where we don't necessarily believe it exists unless you believe it exists. But it's one of those things that gets a lot of attention while guys are making their way back into the cage. Granted, this was a forced layoff, not a wanted layoff. But
Right.
you going in there having to cut the weight, jump in there and be ready to weigh in, and then also expecting to fight a little bit and then having that go away. Did you feel like that brought back some of the little bit of nerves, if you will, if you ever feel those or whatever, makes it more comfortable going into this fight now that it's not a year since the last time, you know?
Yeah, I think 100% it benefited me, man. Like, just being there, cutting the weight, like, just getting in that mindset again was a huge thing. And I don't care, like, who you are. If you say you don't have any nerves fighting, you're just lying.
Yeah.
So, like, just, like, being in there, being in the locker room with Wes, like, you still kind of feel it, you know what I mean? You're still kind of bouncing around. You're shadow boxing a little bit, even though I don't have a fight. But, you know,
Yeah.
just getting in that mindset. So, I mean, I think it helped me, you know, get back in that mode again.
Oh yeah, that's what I love to hear. I'm like, like we always talk about using adversity for your benefit. You know, I mean, it's always a lesson to be learned, and it's just, you know, I mean, at least it's going in the right way. And I really like that when fighters see the silver lining in things too. You know, and I guess going into this fight for Caged Aggression, you fought for them one time before. How did this fight actually come to be?
Yeah, I fought for the when I first started for Pura Vida. Yeah, did real well. I had an undefeated as well. Beat him up pretty good. Honestly, I don't know how this fight came about. Honestly, like, it was just a few days after we got back from Nebraska, Jake was like, you know what, I'm gonna get you a fight now. I'm like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden messaged me while I was at work, we got this kid. I was like, sign it up, let's do it, I'll make it happen.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And, you know, it was so organic, like you said, you know, could care less. But for the fans who are a little interested, what can you tell us about your opponent, his name, record, things like that?
Yeah, man. Okay, Michael Boylan, that's what it is. His name is Michael Boylan. I know he's a younger kid. He's like 19 or 20. But, I mean, he's got a lot of skill sets for being younger. So, I mean, he's got decent Muay Thai. He's got some good wrestling. I know he's a little bigger. He usually fights at 170. So I'm sure this is like a practice cut for him to get to 155. Yeah, practice cut for 155, seeing that this is a 160 fight, which is okay. So he's gonna be a little bigger, a little taller, but I think it's gonna be a good fight overall.
Do you know if he's from Iowa?
I have no idea. I would
Okay.
assume.
I'm just curious because I watched your last fight for Caged Aggression, and they provide a really nice stream actually, and I don't want to diss the promotion at all because it was really good production quality.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like what the commentators were saying about you. You were whooping the dude's ass,
Right?
and they were like, I don't know what they were watching, but I didn't like what they were saying. You have watched that fight, and what did you think about what they were saying about you?
I don't know. It just seemed like they were kind of rooting for him, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to, you know, toot my own horn, but like, dude, I broke 2 of his ribs and his nose. Like, I whooped his ass, you know what I'm saying? And gave me no credit.
Yeah, like, dude. I guess I didn't really like that, and I just wanted to know if you had seen that. And now that I know that you have, do you feel like you need to make a statement like more than what you did the last time, because you put on a very dominant performance, but they showed you no love? Are you expecting to be shown some love after a performance, or are you gonna make them love you after this next win?
I really don't care, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, you know, but hey, you don't got respect for me? Check out my last 5 fights. Like,
Man.
You know what I mean?
Like, oh yeah, that I just didn't like that. I'm beating a dead horse now, but yeah, I don't have anything else to say but that. I guess TJ, stop me from saying something stupid.
No, I mean, I'm on pace with that whole thing. It's a different ballgame when you go into a guy's hometown, or, you know, sometimes even home state. Guys, they're not even from that city. I mean, how many times I've gone to Duluth with Damian and he's fought a guy from Missouri, and they're like, "Let's go Minnesota," and they're just cheering.
Yeah, they don't even know my name.
There's nothing better. And I think I see for fighters there, when you go into a fight and you got guys booing you, and then after the fight, when they come up and they go, "Oh, well, I mean, you know, I was booing you, but that was a really good fight." It's like,
right.
Yeah, thanks. You're gonna be a fan by the end of the night. Just keep watching.
Hey, that's how it was at this point when I won my belt for PFC. Like, it was crazy. You go back and look at it, watching me walk out, it's dead silent, and then he walks out and it's he's the hometown guy. Like, he brought the crowd, and then I shut them all up. Bro. There's no feeling better than that. Like, shutting the crowd up was awesome.
Dude, oh my God, I have heard that before. We're like, we're just from other fighters too, but like, it's always been an experience that I really enjoy too. But like, yeah, when you hear the crowd cheering after your win, it feels amazing. Like, I thought that was the greatest feeling ever. But when you hear nothing, because you just now, like, oh hell yeah, y'all don't know.
It is too. It didn't go to the judges. It was clean cut. I won. Like,
man, dude, hell
great.
yeah. Okay, getting back to this fight. I'm sorry. I'm just I get wrapped up in things. But anyway, getting back to this fight. What type of a performance are you looking for? Are you looking to make a statement, show off your hands a little bit more? Are you looking to just go out there and take the win however it comes? You know, some guys like to call their shots. I don't know if that's necessarily how it is for you, but how do you see this fight going for yourself?
Anywhere, really. I mean, I feel like we're both well-rounded, so I feel like it could go anywhere at any point. But, I mean, if he's willing to stand up, I mean, I'm willing to bang it out, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to do that, you know? I'm trying to show my hands off, beat him up a little bit on the feet. Like, fuck a takedown. Let's just throw these hands. That's what I would like. But I mean, if it goes to the ground, then we'll get it done on the ground. But
yeah, I mean, and your cardio, you have cardio for days. I honestly believe that you can change and pick where this fight goes. If you're feeling comfortable on the feet or you feel like he's vulnerable on the ground, you have the cardio and the ability to keep it where you want it to be. How do you feel he matches up against your wrestling or with his wrestling defense? You know, you mentioned that he's decent everywhere, but you've made a name for yourself of being a really strong grappler. How do you say he prepares for that?
Yeah, I don't know. So I haven't seen his ground game much. But what Jake has told me is he's got some good ground and pound, and I know he's got a good sprawl. But man, I don't know. Like, I'm super confident on the ground. You guys know that. I'm confident. I just got my purple belt.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I mean, on the ground, I got all the confidence in the world. If he takes me down, I'll cement him off my back. If I take him down, it's going to be vicious. So, I mean, I'm confident.
Man, I love it. I love hearing you talk like this. And we're still 3 weeks out from the fight. So just knowing that this is going to build, the work's going to be done. And I mean, October 16th, it's going to be a great Jordan Clark. And obviously all focus on October 16th. But, you know, with this layoff that, you know, no one wanted, is the plan, provided all goes well, to stay active and get back in there? Or, you know, are you looking to round out 2020 with some more fights, or are you thinking you're going to take another break after this one?
I'm active. I mean, I'm right back in the gym. I mean, so after this, I'm trying to get right back at it if I can. You know, if work lets me take off, I'm gonna take off. And so far, I mean, they're letting me go to Nebraska. They let me turn around and come back here. So as long as they don't yell at me and tell me no, like, hey, let's pick it up and let's go.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of the quarantine situation and all that, I mean, I guess are fans going to be allowed in attendance for this fight?
I believe so. I think it's 30% capacity.
Okay. And with that being said, it still is in another state. How can the people at home tune in and watch?
Oh, man, I should have this ready, but I don't. So I posted a picture on my Instagram and on my Facebook. It's like just me doing a little pose, and then it's got the K's Aggression logo, and it's got at the top and the bottom, it's got where you can buy tickets and where you can stream it online also.
Okay. It's rolling at the bottom of the screen right now. I promise you. You can't see it, but it's there.
No, man, that's how you watch it. I know I'm going to be watching it. And, you know, before we wrap this one up, Jordan, always like to give a platform for you to thank any teammates, sponsors, anybody outside the gym that's been there for you leading up to this fight. The platform is yours, sir.
Oh, man, I'm always bad at this. I always forget names when it comes. Man, all my teammates, everyone who's always been there, you know, Nelly, Wes, Ben Shower, O'Day, all these guys, and to all my family outside who supports me no matter what, whether they go or whether they can't be there because they can't see me fight, So I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's always been there. You guys are the real ones. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, as always, I appreciate the time you take with us. Trash Talk is nothing without the fighters. People watching this video, like this video, subscribe to Trash Talk with Damian and TJ. Always remember, don't be a hoe.